Hey folks, welcome to Seaway Whiskywire. Well folks, 2025 will soon be behind us, and we are all anxiously awaiting the arrival of 2026, especially in the whiskey tube world. And like I did last year, I want to do a quick wrap-up video just to talk about my second year as a YouTuber and my plans for the channel in 2026. So grab yourself something good, pour it in a dram, and have a dram with me while we go through this together. Stick around, guys. Well, hey folks, thanks for coming back after the intro, and thanks for joining me in this year-end wrap-up video. I'm going to encourage you guys right off the get-go to pour yourself something good and sip along with me as we go through this. I have already poured myself a wonderful, wonderful dram here. We've got the Sons of Vancouver Wheated Rye coming in at 50.5% ABV, non-chill filtered, no color added, just the way we like it, made from 100% British Columbia rye coming in from the Sons of Vancouver distillery. I'm going to put all their information down below because you should definitely check them out. You should definitely check them out. You should definitely sip the North. And also, this is a regular release, so you're not going to have to fight too hard to get this one here, and it is a banger for sure. So I started doing these videos last year, and I wanted to carry that on kind of as an annual tradition here, just getting close to the end of the year. And, you know, what do I got on the agenda for tonight, guys? I'll check my notes right here. Number one, we're going to review my goals from last year that I set for myself, as well as a scorecard. I've scored all my goals from last year. We'll talk about that. Next, I'm going to talk about my second year on YouTube. So last year was my first year on YouTube, and I'm going to conclude my second year on YouTube as a content creator or whiskey tuber or whatever you want to call it. So kind of share how we navigated that and my experience through that. Last year I had a lot of fun doing shoutouts. We're going to do shoutouts again as a third point there because, you know, a lot goes into this channel and a lot of people need to be thanked, and I'm going to shout them all out tonight. And trust me, the list is a lot bigger than it was last year. And then for the fourth point, we are going to close out the video with my goals and my plans for the channel for 2026. So stick around, you'll want to hear all about that. So without further ado, actually let me get a little sip going here just to get me kickstarted before we get into, you know, how I did last year. Because when you make goals public, you gotta you gotta own them, and sometimes you need a bit of courage to do that. So I'm going for a little sip here. It's a good whiskey, the whiskey you want your good friends to drink when you're dead. I love it. All right, so going through the list of goals I had last year, and I did do a video on this last year. We'll go back in my catalog and take a look at that if you want to see how I did on my first year on YouTube and how I set the goals. But I'm going to go through all the goals I set last year, and I will give myself a grade. So number one, the first goal I had for the channel was for Seaway Whiskywire to remain a Scotch focused channel. I'm going to give myself a B- on this. I think there was just, you know, I started off the year very, very focused on Scotch. Some things happened that we'll get into as we talk about my second year on YouTube. But I was blessed to receive and have shared with me a ton of great Canadian whiskey that I was more than happy to share with you guys. I was very excited and enthusiastic to share with you guys, and I think that was kind of what got in the way here. So what were we mainly driven by Scotch? No, I think we were more of a 50-50 split between Scotch whiskey and Canadian whiskey. You know what, being a Canadian myself, I'm very happy, and I will take that B that I give myself with pride. Number two was to heighten focus on Canadian craft distilleries. I'm going to give myself an A+ on this one. I think, again, we had so much stuff coming to us this year and so many distilleries reaching out, and just the amount of great Canadian whiskey coming from great integrity distilleries was just amazing and floored me and just opened my eyes. And I hope it did the same to you as I shared my thoughts and opinions on it and we went through the journey together. Number three, this is my first F I'm going to give myself, was to tour and highlight distilleries. I have not done that yet, and, you know, shame on me. I really need to. You know, time is, you know, very precious to me, especially with a young family and whatnot. And, you know, I just got to make time for it. Again, if you plan it, you can do it. And I failed to plan on this one here, so I do have to do a better job on that. Number four, the goal I had was to try more bourbons and world whiskeys. I'm going to give myself a B on this one, a B- maybe. You know, again, we'll get into it on stuff I went through in the second year on YouTube, but I did try some amazing world whiskeys. We had some Japanese whiskey on the channel this year. We had some Indian whiskey. You know, I want to continue to expand my horizons in that area. We had some Irish as well, and I just want to make sure that we're giving some of these expressions and brands, due respect and sharing them on the channel as well, because you know, it's a big world out there, and we want to make sure we're sharing and talking about as much of it as we can from the wonderful world of whiskey. Next was to do more whiskey festivals and tastings. As much as I didn't do any more whiskey festivals, I did do quite a bit of whiskey tastings locally to me here in the Seaway and joined my whiskey club, and had a great time doing that. Really, again, more Scotch focused again with Robbie Burns night and stuff, and it's coming around again. But I would love to do more whiskey festivals. I think I kind of fell asleep on that a little bit. I do one whiskey festival, and I promote it every year, and I'm going to promote it again right now for Mike the Whiskey Explorer, his event, Whisky Wonderland in February. Mike, I look forward to seeing everybody and yourself there in February in Ottawa. And yeah, if you haven't heard about Mike's event, I'll put the information down below. It's an amazing event. Does a great job every year. Gets bigger and bigger and better and better. And kudos to Mike for doing that event and putting that on for all of us whiskey nerds. Thank you very much, Mike. Number 6, reach 1,000 subscribers. You know, we're making a push. I'm not gonna lie. At the time of this video, I think I'm somewhere at like 890 subscribers. Got a good push from a couple of videos here late in the year, and we're getting close to that 1,000 range. But I think we're gonna miss it. I'm gonna give myself a B. It was a stretch. You know, I think last year, I watched the video and I was somewhere around 480, I think, at this time last year. So we're making a push, and I'm happy to see that we're making a push. But yeah, a little bit of work to do. But you know what? If we don't hit it before the end of the year, we're definitely going to hit it in 2026. Mark my words on that, folks. Number 7 was to do one to three live streams. I did do one live stream. I did it with John, the whiskey neighbor. Thank you, John, for having myself and Bobby on there from SOS, from Southern Ontario Sippers. I didn't host it, so I mean, it's kind of a, you know, do I give myself an A? I'll give myself a B on it. I did attend it, but I was not the host. I do need to do a live stream, and you know what? Going back to my reach goal to reach 1,000 subscribers. Let's do one at 1,000 subscribers. How about that? All right. With that, I'm going to go in for one more sip here, because this is one of my absolute favorites. This was definitely my summer whiskey. This is one, and going into fall, this is a big one for summer and fall. You get so many nice caramel flavors in there. Big vanillas. Little bit of herbaceous note, but not enough that I'm not a big fan of herbal notes on rye, and that's why I like this one here. You get just enough, but got a good bite at the end there with some spice. Oh, you can tell this one here is running down. I do have a backup bottle that they were nice enough to flip me over, so thanks again, Max, James, and Jenna for that. All right, on to number 2. Talk about my second year on YouTube. So when we started off the year, I mean, first thing I wanted to do was grow the channel and also grow my Instagram fellowship or following, whatever you want to call that, by doing 1 to 2 videos a week and along with some content to go with it. I did that. I think I did a fairly good job of kind of conducting myself on those channels. On those videos we would do like one solid review, and then something that was kind of a little bit of a niche or like a side-by-side. We did first impressions, did a ton of fresh cracks, and I think that's important to share with you guys too, just because when you're getting into a bottle, I think there is that transformational note that goes through from the neck pour into the main body of the bottle. I think that needs to be noted, and I love sharing it with you guys, especially when someone is nice enough to send the bottle to me, or we pick it up. I think it's great. We've got some nice ones planned here in the future here. Mrs. and Minnie Seaway grabbed me a bottle of Ben Romick 10, so I'm cracking into that. We'll see how that transforms as we go through it. The folks over at Glenmorangie, Brian sent me a bottle of Glenmorangie 12. I've actually got it right here on the bar. We're going to plan a little side-by-side to see how it fares up against the 10, as well as maybe doing a fresh crack on it kind of in the same video. So we do have a couple of things planned on that. But again, we're going to be kind of the same content. It's in 2026 too. We're going to be mainly driven by reviews, list videos, and side-by-sides and fresh cracks and stuff like that. But that was my goal, was to do 1 to 2 videos a week, and I think we achieved that pretty good. One thing I've noted here, with all the interesting activity happening down south with tariffs and whatnot, I made a decision, partway through the year, and really I think it was kind of in that range of around March, during Irish Whiskey Month, that I was going to be more focused away from the bourbon stuff and focus more on Canadian distilleries. I reached out to quite a few of them to make a push on this and offer to highlight them on the channel, and I was pleasantly surprised, and we'll get into all this when we get to the shout out portion, but I was pleasantly surprised at just how many of the distilleries were open to sending a virtual unknown guy online, a guy with a YouTube channel and an Instagram account, some bottles, and just saying, hey, you know what, have fun with it, share them with everybody that you want, share them on YouTube, share them on Instagram, and give us your honest opinion. I really appreciate that. And again, we'll get into all those names once we hit that spot in the video. And just, I just was really, really thankful for that. At the midway point through the year, for one reason or another, I decided to rebrand the channel. So we went from the old logo, which I'll probably put up somewhere here, into our new Seaway Whiskywire logo there, just to change it up. And there was nothing against the first logo, let me be frank with that. I just thought it wasn't as expressive, and really didn't tell what the channel was about. We're about whiskey in the Canadian Seaway. I wanted to make sure that was represented on there, because I'm proud of the Canadian Seaway that I live in and serve in here, and wanted to make sure that was well represented of the channel. And I'm quite happy with the rebrand. I think it was a good move. I'm a big fan of the logo. I hope you guys are too. And just, the first logo was very early on in my YouTube journey. It was actually one of the first things I did. So I put a lot of thought and effort into choosing the next one. So that was kind of where I went with that. And along with the rebrand, after about, a month later after the rebrand, because we were doing such a tremendous amount of content regarding Canadian whiskey, I made a conscious decision to launch the Sip the North campaign. I did this kind of in the summertime when I was on vacation. I just thought it was a better way to kind of highlight and push people and invite people to try great Canadian whiskey from great Canadian distilleries, and just really wanted to make that something part of the viewership, is to, I'm not telling you, I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you to go out and check out some of these distilleries, inviting you to check out the websites, inviting you to check out some excellent single malts, excellent whiskey, excellent rye from some of these craft distillers in Canada, especially out in British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario. Another sip. It's gonna be a long video if I keep sipping from this one. I wanted to be as welcoming and accompanying as possible, and I think that the Sip the North campaign is just that. It's an invitation to try something new. It's an invitation to try something Canadian, and I've got it on all my merchandise that my lovely wife, Mrs. Seaway, puts on for me here. And I'm a proud Canadian. I'm proud to invite you to Sip the North, and I wear it right on my sleeve, my heart on my sleeve, right there. All right, what I say, it was a challenging year for me. It was very busy in my personal life. Mini Seaway is getting bigger now, so we had activities and whatnot to go on. But I think I still did an excellent job of maintaining that 1 to 2 video range and trying to create new content, talking a lot with other YouTubers. And again, we'll get into the shoutouts there. But very, very interesting at the start of it to navigate kind of the stuff going on in the South, and had a great time promoting and sharing my experience and journey through Canadian whiskey, along with Scotch whiskey and Irish whiskey and other world whiskeys. So it was a fun year too, and we'll carry on into year 3 for sure. Next, let's get on to the shout out portion of the video. This is my favorite one here, and it's a pretty extensive list here. So I'm going to get into it, and then we'll get into my plans for the channel afterwards and wrap up. So first off, as I always do, got to give credit where credit's due. Mrs. and Mini Seaway for tolerating and putting up with me having to come down here and do the videos, talk about it in my personal life. Kind of, we try to keep whiskey talk separate, and Mrs. Seaway is not into the whiskey at all. But you know what? I appreciate her listening. I appreciate her encouragement and making the merch and doing all that kind of stuff for me. Big supporter, and I couldn't do it without you, Mrs. and Mini Seaway. As long as Mini Seaway quits mentioning it to the teachers there. But anyways. John, I don't know if I ever asked you about that. If you had that problem with your kids, maybe something we can take it offline. Anyway, other YouTubers. While I'm on that thought there, people who provided honest feedback and encouragement through the year. So, number 1, John, the Whiskey Neighbor. Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate all the candid discussion we've had, the texting back and forth and whatnot, sharing ideas. Really appreciate you for sure. Matt, Whiskey on the West Coast. Again, a big helper of mine last year. A big form of encouragement. And I know you've been real busy this last year, sir, but you know what? I thank you for the time you've made and spent with me, just bouncing ideas back and forth. The boys over at Canuck Whiskey, thank you very much for going back and forth in the comments, sharing with me, taking on the 5 most interesting whiskeys in if you only could choose one distillery challenge. I think that was a great one there. Chris from Short Pours, we have some great Saturday morning discussions, and we launch our videos kind of around the same time and support each other. And I really appreciate you and what you're doing, Chris. So keep up the good work, sir. Going into distilleries. Sons of Vancouver, thank you very much for sending over the Weeded Rye. I really appreciate it. Matt, James, and Jenna, can't say enough good about you folks. We're going to keep this Canadian train rolling. The folks over at Bridgeland, thank you for very much. Bridgeland Distillery sending me the Barn Burner, sending me the Innisfil. Haven't even cracked into the Innisfil. We're going to get into that maybe before Irish whiskey time as a Canadian alternative to Irish whiskey. But you know what? Thank you very much, Bridgeland. I appreciate you guys. Glenbow was right up there on the list of top 5 Canadian whiskeys this year, and that's because you guys were nice enough to send it over and nice enough to let me share that with me and let me experience it with my friends and the guys out there in YouTube land. So thank you very much. Macaloney's Island Distillery, the Pete Project. My God, thank you for sending me not 1 but 2 bottles to review and share and just enjoy and thoroughly enjoy it, guys. I can't say enough good about Macaloney's, doing some amazing stuff, doing stuff the right way, the proper way, the traditional way, not rushing it, and just turning out some fabulous stocks of stuff. Don and the boys over at Last Straw, thank you so much, guys, sending over some stuff. The introduction to the stout whiskey. Don taking some time in the summertime to meet with me at the distillery. Even though I wasn't armed with anything, we just, shot the breeze for a bit and talked whiskey, like exactly what I wanted to do when I was there. It was good enough, picked up a bottle of the amber whiskey. We were just talking about this online. Yeah, I've got some restraint. I haven't got into it yet. We'll talk more about this one in 2026. Mark my words, folks. But Don, thank you very much to Don and the team over there at Last Straw. Again, Vaughan, Ontario, Canada, doing some amazing stuff up there. Very innovative. Let's go way up north into the Yukon. Thank you very much to Brewers for flipping me the bottle over there of the classic 48. This was one I shared a lot with my dad. Papa Seaway loves this bottle, and he loves that it's from Yukon. He loves that it came all the way from there, and he loves the flavor profile on it, and he loves that 43% mark. So you guys, I know you guys are turning out some amazing, innovative cask stuff, some higher ABVs, but you know what? Those 43s, I mean, I'm a huge fan of that one. And the 48 release was a banger. So thank you very much, folks, over there. Had 2 brewers. 40 Creek Chris and the folks over at 40 Creek. Thank you guys for sharing the Niagara Triple Reserve. Again, one of my Canadian whiskeys of the year. Beautiful whiskey. And, beautiful distillery. I have to get up there. Next time I'm up in the area, I'm stopping by on the way up to Niagara Falls, and I'm stopping into to 40 Creek because I have to. I have to get in there and see it, and I have to get in there. Chris, I'll reach out to you next time I'm coming that way. Excuse me. Going back to British Columbia, Shelter Point. Shelter Point sent me a bottle over there of their classic Canadian single malt there, the one that relaunched, just launched in the LCBO, and this is an excellent release. I don't know if it's still available. I know in my LCBO it's sold out, but I mean, it's a great release from them. And, it's great to see some other craft Canadian brands coming into the LCBO here in Ontario, doing some great stuff. Independent bottler alert here. We got Glen Nemeth. Glen Nemeth sent me 3 releases over. We're going to talk more about them in 2026. I've given one small video on them to do a kind of a side-by-side review, but I am going to get into them. They're doing some great stuff there. They, independent bottlers picking up their spirit at a Tumbleweed distillery there, and doing some elemental aging stuff. Very, very cool indeed. Signal Hill going to the east coast of Canada sent me over their Founders Reserve and their regular release. Thank you very much. Really appreciate both those releases. We're going to talk more about the Founders Reserve in 2026, and it's got a big ABV, healthy ABV piece to it there too. Okinawa Spirits out of British Columbia there. Tyler and the team out there at Okinawa Spirits, they sent me a bottle of Professor Plum's honey hops ale, and I love it. And it's a great bottling. I don't know if they still have it available on their website or not. I'll put their information down below along with all these folks. But there is some bangers of stuff coming out of Okinawa Springs. They're doing stuff the proper way, and again, a lot of really cool, delicate laws in British Columbia to have a spirit company in there, and I love the fact that it's all going to be done in BC. I don't know about them, but I mean, I love the fact. Bareface Canadian Whiskey sent it over their Wilderness Release Series 3, I believe it is. Excellent whiskey, and had a good time going through that. Old Hunter Rye sending a bottle over of a Czech Republic whiskey. I know that was an interesting one. Never tried a Czech Republic whiskey. I guess that classifies my in the world whiskey there. But thanks a lot, folks over at Old Hunter Rye for sending over. I told you guys there was going to be quite a few shout outs, and only partway through. I'll never get through it if I keep drinking from that glass. Anyways, Earl and A Distilleries, an upstart distillery out of Prince Edward Island. Nice of them send me a release of theirs. This was put out by Last Straw and Don and the boys over there, so thank you guys at Earl A. Two stacks in PWS or PSW out in Edmonton there. Thank you very much for sending me that bottle of Two Stacks. Just recently launched in the LCBO, and been a great bottle. And I'm going to get into that in a full review in March. Mark my words, we'll start March off with a bang with that Two Stacks double cask. Indri single malt, and I think it's great. Great North Spirits. I'm sorry, I'll put the right stuff down here. But the folks that bring Indri Spirits into Canada, thank you very much. Great White North Spirits or something. But you guys do a fantastic job. They got another bottle coming to me soon, another Indri, and I can't wait to get into it. Once they get it, they're going to send it over. So thank you very much, guys over there. White Mackay. What did White Mackay send me? They sent me a bottle of Tamnavulin double cask there, and I mean it's a great little budget one. Actually, I think it's one of my more watched videos from the budget category there. But yeah, Tamnavulin, great single malt, 40% ABV. But you know what? I think I would recommend it over top of some of these Glenlivets and Glenfiddichs any day from a price point as well. Going back to Alberta, Diani Distillery sent me over some samples to try out. They etched my logo into a bottle. Doing some pretty crafty and cool stuff out there at the Diani Distillery. Well done. John Sleeman and Son sent me a bottle of their rye, and their bottle of rye was one that I said to check out. It's one that I continually recommend as a good starter whiskey, beginner's whiskey, or even just something to mix, because it's just so versatile. At 40%, you can drink it all day long. It doesn't burn you. It doesn't have too much going on for it. But from a profile, you get a lot more out of it than you would any Crown Royal, anything coming from Wiser's, anything coming from CC. John Sleeman and Sons out of Guelph, Ontario. Thank you very much for flipping that over. Kevin and the team over at Spirit of Us sending me over some bottles there of Wilson's Pride, my buddy Tim Wilson. I remember sitting there in Niagara on the lake at the Gretzky Distillery trying Wilson's Pride, or kind of like this the spirit before it was Wilson's Pride with Tim. And he's like, this is never going to be released. I'm so glad that Kevin, you got a hold of that and released it. So well done, and keep up the good work with those independent bottlings, Kev. My buddy Tyler for sending me the bottle of Kilcairn 12. Honestly, if I got this early in the season, Ty, this probably would have been my whiskey of the year for Scotch. Not going to lie. But you know what? It's got a chance at 2026, not to give it away. Maybe we'll be talking about it this time next year for sure. But Ty, thanks a lot for thinking of me, and thanks for sharing that bottle with me. On that note, Miriam, One Woman Whiskey, for all the samples and all the encouragement and all the support over the years. Usually she's the first to comment on any of my videos there. You can go down and check them, but always has some insight to add, and some candor and back and forth. I just, I appreciate you so much, Miriam and Marvin there, and I hope you guys had a great Christmas, a great holiday, and we'll be talking more in 2026 for sure. And from SOS, my buddy Gary, and the boys over there at SOS, Gary for the samples, and I think I might have skipped right over them. I did too. The boys from SOS, thank you very much for Bobby and Joel and the team over at SOS. Sadly I haven't been able to participate in much on there, but you know what? Always insightful. Always kind of have your pulse on the whiskey world, and appreciate you boys all the more for all that stuff. But yeah, that's the pretty big detailed list of everybody that helped out the channel, provided in one way or another some encouragement or whatnot. I really appreciate you guys, and really appreciate all that was shared with me over the year. And you know what? I hope to carry on a lot of these partnerships into 2026 and keep sharing and preaching and pushing the world of whiskey, be it Canadian or Scotch or world whiskeys, with all you folks out there. All right, probably maybe the shoutouts were what you really came for, but I'd like to think it's going to be the plans for 2026. So here's my kind of state of the union, where we sit. My plans for 2026, what I'm saying now, and I'll put my goals out there, because you know what, when you put your goals out and make them public, you're accountable to them, and I gotta make them happen. So number one, we're going to remain a Scotch focused channel, but we're going to add Canadian into that. I really think, especially now more than ever, I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm a Canadian whiskey tuber, and I want to review Canadian products as much as I'm reviewing other stuff. So we are still going to focus on Scotch as a main focus for the channel, but I'm also going to be looking for more up-and-coming craft Canadian spirits to share with you folks out there, because it's just important at this time, and to carry on the Sip the North campaign, because we need to do that. We need to invite people to try our spirit and eliminate any kind of stigma there is against Canadian whiskey. Hallelujah. Amen. Where's the Tylenol? Just joking. Next, continue to highlight Canadian craft distilleries on the channel and share with it. Whether that's doing, I think John the Whiskey Neighbor does some excellent stuff. I think, he's going to be doing some live streams here with some distilleries in the future, so watch for those. I think that's great, and we need to be helping those Canadian distillers out there by sharing their product, good or bad, in my opinion. And, I plan on doing that this year with the channel. We said 1,000. I'd love to make 1,000 before 2026 starts, but I think we're going to fall just short. I'm going to set an aggressive goal again, though, of reaching 1,500 subscribers by this time next year. I think it's doable. I'm going to continue to drive myself and challenge myself to put out some better quality videos and keep sharing some Canadian spirits and keep trying to attract some audiences through Scotch and whatnot. And, building on that, because I didn't do it last year, I want to get to 2,000 followers on Instagram. I think I'm sitting somewhere around 1,300 and change right now. I want to get to 2,000, and I want to be more impactful on Instagram. And again, that means stepping outside my comfort zone, doing some different stuff, and, trying to get more engagement out of the folks that are already on there. And then number 4. I want to do 1 to 3 live streams. I want to host them, and I think we need to start it with the 1,000 subscribers. So get me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to get something special, and we're going to do a live stream. I'm committing to that right now. I will do my first live stream. I will call up John the Whiskey Neighbor, and he will give me some advice, and I will write it all down, and we will stumble and bumble through my first live stream, because I think that's all that's holding me back at this time, is the stumbling and bumbling through the live stream. But yeah. Anyways, that is what I've got in store for WhiskyTube on Seaway Whiskywire. I'm going to keep doing it as long as I find it valuable and I find it fun and not a chore. And I can tell you right now, this past year, there's been some times where it's been tough, especially with, a young family and whatnot, but it's a heck of a ride. It's something I really enjoy doing. It's a change from the, everyday way of life for me to come downstairs, crack open a bottle, sip and share and make notes, share it with my buddies and get the conversation going, and then share those thoughts and opinions with you. And, if I'm out and about, at a liquor store or whatever, at the LCBO, and I catch somebody looking and they look, a little bit lost or confused, just like I do on the channel, there's nothing I like better than to try and help somebody out and recommend someone to make an educated and well worth their time decision. So I like to think that I'm helping out one way or another by just sharing that. And if we can sell a couple of bottles for some great Canadian spirits and encourage people to sip the North, it'll probably be this side or that side, but anyway, we'll catch that in editing. Encourage you guys to sip the North, then I think I'm doing my job, and I feel like I'm contributing to the whiskey community that way. Yeah, there you have it, folks. That's my wrap-up video for 2025 and my goals for 2026 and where the channel's going. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskywire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whiskywire for more content. And if you guys are still hanging on this long in the video, listening to me ramble on here and all my shout-outs and plans and whatnot, and my A's and B's there, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Love you guys supporting the channel. For those of you who just found the channel recently, really appreciate you guys too. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to in 2026? I know there's been a ton of recommendations on some Canadian whiskeys to try, and I will be reaching out to some of those distilleries or looking to purchase some of those bottles and get them here for review to share my thoughts and opinions with you guys and to share the whiskey with the folks out there. But if there's something you guys would like to see, just put in the comments down below. I answer all my comments, right, wrong, or indifferent, on time or a week late. I do get to them, and I appreciate every one of them. So thank you guys very much. Here's to a really good wrap up to 2025, and here's to a very prosperous and happy 2026. Cheers to your health, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now, guys.